Many conversations we have can be met head on without any hesitation, but certain topics become more personal for many and should always be engaged in a more delicate and empathetic way. Politics has become one topic most avoid for the sake of serenity at work or with their family, but one subject we should never shy away from is spirituality and religion. Although I'm a Christian now, it took most of my life to find the light. Not the generic light of saying I found God. I mean the light that you literally feel in your heart and your soul when you truly find God. Although I've always believed in Jesus, one of the main reasons that I kept my distance from Christian churches was because many of the Christians themselves. They often forgot that the reason they have faith is because they've already found God, and meeting a person they did not know with indignant judgment was not the way that they were going to get a man without God to subscribe to their views. After a while, I began associating the people with the scripture, which I was weird to be part of. Fortunately, I did find my way and definitely wanted to share the excitement with others, but I never forgot my journey and will always meet new conversations with enthusiasm, empathy, and a genuine kindness. Condescension will end any conversation before it begins, so explaining your views to someone who may see things differently is a delicate dance. Conversation with opposing views is the only way that we can grow personally. Either you learned something you didn't know, or your views were strengthened when you were challenged with a new question. Either way, it should always be done with an open mind and civility. Ultimately, it is not your words that inspire others to trust what you say is true. It is your actions that will inspire someone to listen to your words with accepting ears. Every person in this world either believes in God or science, which has always made some conversations a little more difficult than others. Most Christians do not deny science, where many scientists do not subscribe to God. You think it would be easier to explain God through science when I have so much faith myself and can feel it everywhere I go, but I never found a way that carried any kind of solid scientific foundation. However, it always made me want to pursue the answer. Recently, I came across a video where a theologian was asked to fill in the story of the creation of the universe, God and spiritual matter, the impact on material matter, and where God came from. Dr. Hovind gave one of the most profound responses I had ever heard, and I will pass it on the best I can. Where God came from isn't even a question, because if God was influenced by time, space, and matter, he wouldn't be God. Since time, space, and matter cannot exist without one another, they must have all been created at the same moment. Matter can't exist without space because it would have no place to exist. And matter cannot exist without time because it needs a moment to exist. God said, "In the beginning," which brought us time. Then God created heaven, which was the manifestation of space. And at last he gave us earth, which was the creation of matter. Time is past, present, and future. Space is length, width, and height. And matter has solid, liquid, and gas, three trinities. Much like constructing a house, you cannot do it from the inside out. In order for God to have simultaneously created them, he must have existed first outside of them. If human emotion and developmental thinking is just something that developed by chance over millions of years, how can we possibly trust ourselves to make rational decisions? By asking the question, where did God come from? It assumes that God is limited. And assuming that we could fit the understanding of God and be able to process his infinite wisdom in our tiny brains, would he really be a God worth worshiping? The value of listening to other perspectives and giving other people's ideas a chance is we become more enlightened and our beliefs gain a more solid foundation. Many people have different interpretations of the same things and many different ways of explaining something, which will resonate with some over others. And this is why it's easier to listen to some people over others, and also why we should never stop sharing. I personally will always be proud of my faith, but I will never discriminate against yours. If we can all example our faith in what we do, others will be inspired along the way and will ask the questions in hope of finding the same thing themselves. Religion can be taught, but spiritual connection to God is only something that you can find yourself. My commitment to Christ is not to judge your decisions, but to encourage more positive actions. There are many men and women that can recite scripture, but those words are pointless without ears that are willing to listen. The best teachers and leaders will always be the ones who do not ask to be heard. Their actions will be what inspires others to want to listen and seek the light that they have so sincerely and organically displayed. As long as you love your God, treat your lady with respect, take care of your family, protect the innocence of children, put others before yourself, we are ultimately fighting on the same side of this war. And any conversation had with love is a conversation worth having.